Hello, guys and gals. Welcome to another mild-mannered Mallard math movie production where you get to play the therapist and solve all of math's problems. Today we're going to be covering the very last section in Chapter 1, 1.5, which has to deal with converting units and begins on page 32 in your math book. Today, when we're converting units from meters to yards or from feet to miles or whatever it may be, we will be using conversion factors. And a conversion factor is one of those vocab words that you probably should know. And it's a rate that equals 1. Some easy conversion factors that you probably already know or should know by the 8th grade is that 60 seconds is equal to 1 minute. You should also know that 60 minutes is equal to 1 hour. Okay? Those are both conversion factors. Some other ones that we'll be using, you may or may not know already. You could have 1 meter is equal to 3.28 feet. You might see it written like that, or you might see it written like this: 1 meter over 3.28 feet. Or you might see it like this: 3.28 feet over 1 meter. Any way you see it, it all means the same thing, is that 1 meter is equal to 3.28 feet, or 3.28 feet is equal to 1 meter. Either way, it's all the same thing. You might want to go to the resources page on this website and check out the conversion table. That might help you in this section especially, and as you go throughout these problems in the homework, you'll see a bunch of conversion rates there that will help you with this section as we go along. Alright, so example number 1 says to convert 20 centimeters to inches. So our job is to find out how many inches is equal to 20 centimeters. We're going to do 2 methods. I'm going to show you the first one. This is called using a conversion factor. Okay, so what I'm going to do is we first start up here with the problem. We're asked to find out how many inches equals 20 centimeters. And to do that, our book gives us the conversion rate, and the conversion rate is that 1 inch equals 2.54 centimeters. Alright, so I'm going to begin by putting what I've started with, what I already know, and I know that I have 20 centimeters. Then I draw what looks like a sideways T. Okay, it kind of resembles a table. And in the second part right here, you'll see that I have my conversion factor. Okay, 1 inch over 2.54 centimeters. Now there is a specific order. Whatever unit you want to get out of, okay, in this case I want to get out of centimeters because I want to get into inches to find out how many inches there are in 20 centimeters. You want to put across from each other so that they cancel out. 1 on top, then 1 on bottom. Okay, so one more time. Since I'm going from centimeters to inches, I want to put the centimeters across from each other diagonally so that they'll cancel out and I'll be left in inches. Okay? Now the key is when you're doing it this way using the conversion factor, you're going to multiply across. Okay, if you go across horizontally, you're going to multiply. And if you go vertical, you're going to divide. Alright? So the first step will be to multiply 20 times 1. Easy enough. 20 times 1 is 20. And then if you wanted to, you could put a 1 underneath 20. That would be perfectly fine. So you don't have to. 1 times 2.54 is 2.54. Okay. Notice I didn't put any units. That's because the centimeter here and the centimeter here crosses off, and that leaves me with inches. Okay. So now I'm in inches. The last part for me to do is to simply divide 20 divided by 2.54. That's 20 divided by 2.54. And when you do that, you should get an answer that is 7.87 inches. Okay? So you have 20 centimeters. Oh, let me try that again. 20 centimeters is about 7.87 inches. Okay, the second way that I'm going to show you is called using a proportion. Okay, this is method 2, using a proportion. Same exact problem. You're finding out how many inches is 20 centimeters. Okay, in this, we're still going to use that conversion factor that we know. Okay, 1 inch is equal to 2.54 centimeters. And in a proportion, you have an equal sign, or my equal sign is squiggly because it's going to be about, it's not exactly. So when it's squiggly equal sign, it's about how much? Well, we don't know the inches. We don't know the actual inches. So that gets an X. But we do know that we have 20 centimeters. Okay? So on this side, you have the conversion rate over here. And on this side, we have the problem. Now, when setting up a proportion, it is important that you remain consistent. So if you put inches on top on this side of the proportion, inches need to be on top on this side of the proportion. Centimeters on bottom on this side, centimeters on bottom on this side. If you flip-flop, have centimeters on the bottom here and centimeters on the top here, when you're doing method 2 of proportion, you will get it wrong. Okay? So when you're using a proportion, make sure that you have centimeters, the same unit, on the bottom or on the top on both sides. Okay? Once you have proportion set up, 1 centimeter over 2.54 centimeters, 1 inch, over 2.54 centimeters is about X inches over 20 centimeters. All you simply do is cross multiply. Okay, so 20 times 1 gives you 20. Okay, 2.54 times x gives you 2.54x. Then you solve it like a simple equation. Divide by 2.54. Divide by 2.54. And again, you would get the same answer. 7.87 inches. About. Not perfect, but about. Okay? So either way, either using the proportion, method 2, or using the conversion, method 1. Either way will get you to the right spot. A little practice, though, with both will need it until you find the method that you prefer. Okay, this one I want you to try on your own, using one of the 2 methods. Okay? 18 inches this time is about how many centimeters? Okay? 18 inches is about how many centimeters? Pause the video, choose your method that you want to use, try to work it out, and when you think you got it, unpause it and we'll continue. Okay, to start, I'm going to do method 1 first. Show you method 1. I know that I have 18 inches, so I'm going to start with that. Then remember, I'm going to draw my sideways T. Okay? Then, if you remember, what goes in this part right here is your conversion factor, right? So I look back in my book and I see that 1 inch is equal to 2.54 centimeters. Now remember, what am I trying to get to? I'm trying to get to centimeters, which means I want the inches to go away. So when I do it this time, my 1 inch is going to go on the bottom, and my 2.54 centimeters is going to go on top. That means the inches will go away, and I will be left with centimeters. From here, all I have to do is multiply across 18 times 2.54, then divide it by 1. When you do 18 times 2.54, you should get a grand total of 45.72 centimeters. Your unit is centimeters because the inches have went away. Okay, I've set up a proportion here for method 2. Same exact problem that we just did, which is number 3 on page 32. This proportion, remember, I have my conversion factor. I put inches over centimeters. Okay, now if you put centimeters over inches over here, that's fine, but remember the important part is the other side. Since I put inches on top here, inches go on top here. Okay, if I switched it and put centimeters on the top, then centimeters would go on the top over here. Just be consistent. Okay, so the conversion factor is 1 inch is equal to 2.454 centimeters. In my problem, I knew that I had 18 inches, but I'm looking for how many centimeters it is, and I don't know, so I substitute an x in there. From here, I just cross multiply. X times 1 is simply x. And then on the other side, I'm going to do 2.54 times 18, which again should be 45.72. And that's centimeters. Okay, so either way, method 1, method 2 will get you where you want to go as long as you set up the problem correctly. Alright, let's go back and let's try another example on your own. Let's try example number 1. Example number 1 is asking us to do 10 quarts is equal to how many liters? Okay. You're going to need to look for this conversion. You can find it either on the website, or if you turn the page on page 33, you'll see that it gives you that conversion factor. Okay, so using that conversion factor, choose your preferred method, method 1 or method 2. Pause the video, see if you can get this right on your own, and then pause it, and we'll work it out together. Okay, let's try to work this thing out. I'm going to use the conversion factor method first, and then I'll show you the proportion. Okay, so we're starting with 10 quarts. Okay, and it wants us to go to liters. Looking over at the conversion factor, I know that 1 quart equals 0.95 liters, and since I'm trying to get to liters, I want quarts on the bottom, so that way they'll cancel out, and 1 quart is equal to 0.95 liters. So what I need to do is I need to multiply across 10 times 0.95 and then divide by 1. When I do that, 10 times 0.95 is equal to 9.5. My quarts have canceled out. If I've done that right, one will be on top, one will be on bottom. They'll cancel. 9.5 liters should be my answer. Now let's say you wanted to set up, okay, all right, you could set it up 1 quart over 0.95 liters is equal to, and our problem said we had 10 quarts, but we didn't know how many liters we had. Okay? So as long as I put liters on the bottom, I just want to make sure quarts on top, liters on bottom, I'm good to go. Cross multiply. Okay? X times 1 gives me an X. 10 times 9.5. Cross multiplying again. Here and here. 10 times 0.95 gives me 9.5 liters. So either way, you'll get the right answer as long as you set the problem up correctly. Alright, here we're going to do example number 2. In example number 2, you need the little picture of the heart over there that tells us that the heart pumps 5 quarts of blood every minute. Okay? So the heart pumps 5 quarts of blood every minute. And the problem wants to convert the quarts to liters. So what I've done is already set up a conversion table for us. 5 quarts every minute. And it wants us to go, this is important, read the problem, convert the pumping rate of human heart to liters per minute. Okay, so we're already in minutes. That's fine. You'll see where this is going to become critical here in example 3 when we get to there. But right now it wants it in minutes. We're in minutes, but it wants it in liters, and we're in quarts. So I set up a conversion factor already. That conversion factor is 1 quart is equal to 0.95 liters. I want the quarts to go away, so I put them diagonal from each other so they'll cancel out, and I have the liters on top. Okay, what I'm going to do is then just multiply across. 5 times 0.95 is 4.75 liters, because my quarts cancel out, leaving me with liters on top. And then what's left on the bottom is 1 times 1, and my unit is minutes. So 1 times 1 is just 1 minute. Okay? So the heart pumps 4.75 liters every minute of blood. Pretty fascinating, huh? Alright, this one here is number 3. And this one is going to take us a couple of steps to get where we need to go. So make sure that you're paying attention to this one here. The problem wants us to convert the speed of the zip liner to feet per second. And I've underlined feet per second because that's what we're trying to get to. That's our goal. Okay? The book says that the zip liner goes 15 miles per hour. So you'll notice that we have to change miles to feet, but we also have to change hours to seconds. And that's where example number 3 is different than the first 2 examples where we were only changing one conversion from miles to feet. Okay? Or vice versa. So this one we're going to be doing 2. Miles to feet and hours to seconds. We're doing the same method. We're just going to have to do it more than once. Okay? Alright, I'm going to start with what I know. I know that I have 15 miles, or I know that I go 15 miles every hour on the zip line. That's the speed. And I know what I want to do is I want to change this miles to feet. So I'm going to set up my conversion table. That sideways T. And I'm going to need to look at my conversion factor, how many feet are in a mile, because I want to go from miles to feet. And there are 5,280 feet in 1 mile. And remember, I set them up like this because I want the miles to be across from each other, diagonal, so that way they'll cancel out. And will leave me just in feet, right? So I'm going to do 15 times 5,280. 15 times 5,280. And then what I'll end up with then is 79,200. My unit is feet on top because you'll notice my miles have canceled out. And on the bottom I have 1 here times 1 there. 1 times 1 is 1. And my unit is hours. Okay? But I'm not done, am I? Because I'm in feet, but the problem, remember, wants us to be in feet per second. And right now I'm in feet per hour. So I have to do this one more time. So to do that, I'm going to do another conversion. Okay? I want to keep feet this time, but I want to cancel out hours. So I need to figure out how many seconds there are in an hour. I'm going to put 1 hour up here so that my hour cancels out. And for seconds, there are 3,600 seconds in an hour. This is my conversion factor right here. There's 3,600 seconds in an hour. So now I need to do the same thing here, what I did up here. I'm going to start by multiplying across the top. And when I do that, I'm going to get 79,200 times 1 is going to leave me with 79,200. That's going to be feet, because remember my hours cancel out. And on the bottom, I'm going to do 1 times 3,600, and that gives me 3,600. And now I'm in seconds, so I'm going to put seconds. So now I'm in feet per second. Now all I have to do is divide 79,200 and divide it by 3,600. And when I do that, I should get 22 feet per second. And then you're done. So this problem, it takes a little bit of time. You're just performing the same operations you know how to do. You're just doing it 2 more times. Okay, this one you should try on your own. This is number 5, and the problem reads like this. An oil tanker is leaking oil at a rate of 300 gallons. 300 gallons every minute. Okay? So 300 gallons every minute. They want us to convert it to gallons per second. Okay? Gallons per second. We're already in gallons, but notice we're in minutes, so we need to change this from minutes to seconds. So let's set up our conversion table. Actually pause. You see if you can figure it out, and then unpause it, and then we'll see what you came up with. Okay? You need to set this up. We're already in gallons, like I said earlier, and now we're just trying to go to seconds. And I want my minutes to cancel out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my 1 minute up here. And in 1 minute, there are how many seconds? 60 seconds. Good. So what we need to do is our minutes will cancel out, because if we set it up correctly, they'll be across from each other. And then I'm going to do 300 times 1 gives me 300 gallons. My minutes have canceled out. On the bottom I have 1 times 60, which is 60 seconds. And then all I need to do is I need to divide 300 divided by 60, and I will get 5 gallons, keep your units, every 1 second. That's quite a bit of oil leakage. 5 gallons every second. Alright guys, I know this is getting kind of long, but we have 2 more problems that we need to do. This is example number 4, And here we're going to be converting area. And the special thing that you need to look for when we're converting area is that we have to square the conversion factor. Alright, so number 4, for example, the painting, this is by Benedict Gibson, has an area of 2,880 square inches. And they want to know what the area is of this painting in square feet. Okay, so what is the area in square feet? When you see that, we're converting it, first of all, from inches to feet. And then what we need to do is, because it's area, we need to do the square of the conversion factor. So what I've done is I've set all this up like we normally do, but because it's area, I need to do the square of this. So I'm going to square. Okay, I've set everything up normally. Inches here, inches there. That way inches will cross out. But now what I need to do is I need to take the square of my conversion factor and square everything that's in it. Okay, now to square this, you have to square both the numerator and the denominator. 1 squared is still 1. Okay, we have feet there. And 12 squared, the denominator, is 144. And now I'm going to multiply across the top and get 2,880. And on the bottom, there's nothing there except a 1. So 1 times 144 is 144. This is feet. And then the last thing that you have to do is divide 2,880 divided by 144, and you will get 20. Now we're in feet over here, feet, and because it's area, you square it. Okay, so 2,880 inches squared is the same as 20 feet squared. Okay, this should be our last problem for the day. This is example number 5. It's the same concept as example number 4, except this one you'll notice it wants to convert the units of volume. Okay, and when we're converting units of volume, instead of squaring it, we're going to, you'll notice right here, cube it. Okay, so instead of squaring it like we do with area, we're going to cube it because it's volume. Okay, and so we're trying to get it to centimeters. The problem wants us to go from meters to centimeters, so I have 80 meters. I'm going to do my conversion. I need to cube it, so 1 times 1 times 1 on the bottom is still 1. That's a meter. And 100 times 100 times 100 on the top, because that's really what you're doing is 100 times 100 times 100. That's 100 cubed. That's what we're doing on the top. That is going to be 1 million. Okay, and we need to put our unit there, centimeters. And then we need to cross out the meters. Okay, and then all we're going to do is we are going to multiply across the top. We have 80 times 1 million, which is going to give us 80 million. And then we still have 1 on the bottom, so 80 million divided by 1 is still going to be 80 million, and we are in centimeters, and because it's volume, you have to cube it. So once you've done that, you're finished. Alright, I lied. I wanted to give you one that you could practice on your own. This one is number 8 in the book. It's another painting question. They said that this painting has 6 square feet, and they want you to turn it into squared inches. Okay, so 6 feet squared equals how many inches squared? You're dealing with area, so see if you can work this one out. Pause the video and then unpause when you got it. Alright, let's see how you did. Here I've started my conversion. Here is my conversion factor that I'm going to be needing to use because I want to go from feet to inches. Since I'm going to get out of feet and go to inches, I am going to put inches on top. And I will put feet on bottom. 12 inches equal to 1 feet. That way my feet will cancel out. And then I need to make sure that, since I'm doing area, that I square the conversion factor. So this becomes 6. This is 144. This is still 1. Okay. And then I need to do 144 times 6 divided by 1. And I should get 864 inches squared. Just like that. Hopefully you got that same answer. And with that, I couldn't leave you without the joke of the video. So here it is. Why did the stadium get hot after the game was over? The answer is because all the fans left.